Dobroveče, ovo je Diplomata, televizijski format koji Euronews realizuje u saradnji sa magazinom Diplomacy and Commerce. Pogledajte danas razgovor sa Avivit Bar-Ilan, ambasadorkom Izraela u Srbiji. Vidjet ćete i kakva je bila atmosfera na nekolicini diplomatskih događaja u Beogradu proteklih dana, ali i na Women's CEO Summitu, odnosno razgovor o ženama u diplomatiji. A sada prelazimo na diplomatske vesti. U četvrtak 24. aprila u Palati Srbija predsjednik Republike Srbije Aleksandar Vučić primio je akreditivna pisma novoimenovanih ambasadora, a pisma su predali ambasador Kraljevine Belgije Frederik De Welter, ambasador Crne Gore Nebojša Đoković, ambasador Commonwealth Australije Peter George Trasvel, ambasador Republike Slovenije Slobodan Šešum i ambasador Republike Koreje Hyong Tae Kim. Ministar spoljnih poslova Republike Srbije Marko Đurić upisao se u prostorijama apostolske enuncijature u Beogradu u knjigu žalosti otvorenu povodom smrti njegove svetosti Pape Franciska. Upućujući izraze saučešća Svetoj stolici i ožalošćenim vernicima, ministar Đurić je konstatovao da je Papa Francisko bio veliki duhovni vođa i istinski čovek hrišćanske solidarnosti, a da su njegov pontifikat obeležili snažna poruka mira, dijaloga i socijalne pravde, kao i nepokolebljiva posvećenost borbi protiv siromaštva, marginalizacije i klimatskih promjena. Kako je navedeno u poruci, Papa Francisko ostavio je neizbrisiv trag u savremenom svetu, ne samo kao verski vođa, već i kao moralni autoritet, čije su reči i dela nadilazili granice religija, kultura i kontinenata. Sahrani Pape Franciska u Vatikanu prisustvovao je predsjednik vlade Republike Srbije, profesor dr. Đuro Macut. Međunarodni klub žena obeležit će 5. maja potpisivanje ugovora za projekte Žene za žene, čime će zvanično početi realizacija 11 značajnih lokalnih projekata širom Srbije, čiji je cilj osnaživanje žena i devojčica. Događaj će otvoriti Andreja Pavukova, predsjednica Međunarodnog kluba žena i supruga ambasadora Slovačke u Srbiji. Sredstva u ukupnom iznosu od 4,5 miliona dinara prikupljena su tokom 21. humanitarnog bazara IVC-a u decembru 2024. godine, koji je okupio oko 2000 posetilaca i 28 ambasada.
Dear viewers, welcome to another episode of The Diplomat. My name is Mijat Kontić, and our guest today is Her Excellency Avivit Bar-Ilan, the ambassador of Israel to Serbia. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mian, for having me here today.
It's a pleasure to have you. Now, something that maybe not all of our viewers know is that your father was actually born in Belgrade and your grandparents were born in Pančevo. How has reconnecting with your family roots in Serbia influenced your perspective as an ambassador? And does this personal connection shape your approach to strengthening the ties between Serbia and Israel?
Well, to become the Israeli ambassador to Serbia was a dream for me, and being here today is a dream that became true. I'm very proud and happy to represent my country here in Serbia, and definitely it goes because of my family roots and connections. The moment I arrived here last summer, I felt immediately at home. The smell of the food, the sound of the language reminded me of my grandparents speaking at home, and naturally I felt very much comfortable here. My aim here is to do the best I can to bring our bilateral ties, Israel and Serbia, to new heights, and I'm looking forward for my continuous stay here.
Now, last week, you visited the Holocaust Memorial and the Kladovo Transport Memorial on the occasion of Yom HaShoah, the Holocaust Remembrance Day, accompanied by members of the Jewish community of Belgrade and its president Aaron Fuchs. How do such commemorations contribute to preserving the memory of the Holocaust? And furthermore, what role do they play in fostering understanding and dialogue between communities in Serbia and Israel?
Well, definitely as a daughter of Holocaust survivors, I found a great importance in preserving the memory of Shoah, the Holocaust that happened to Jewish people in Europe and here more than 80 years ago. I think the most important thing for all of us these days is to educate, to make sure that young generation, those who didn't have the opportunity to hear or witness survivors' testimonies, that unfortunately they will not stay with us for a long time, will understand and know exactly what happened here. And this is of great importance. It's important for us to know what happened in the past in order to have a better future. And this is the reason that Israel, that is now also is presiding IRA, International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, we put a lot of emphasis during its presidency in commemorating and in educating young generation. We chose the theme Crossroad for Generations, meaning that this is a bridge for future generations. And I hope very much that here also, during our presidency, together with the Serbian government, we'll find the new creative ways in order to tell the stories of a vibrant and lively society, part of Belgrade history that existed here many years ago, and unfortunately, most of it didn't come back from the war.
Something that our viewers probably are familiar with are the Baruch Brothers Choir, which was founded in 1879 in Belgrade and is, according to some researchers, the oldest active Jewish choir in the world. And they even have their own street in Belgrade as well. Not only does this choir represent one of the synonyms of Jewish culture in Serbia, but it also aims to include the mutual communication of tradition and closeness between the Jewish and Serbian people. How important is this tradition for the Jewish communities?
I think it's of great importance, and I'm very much happy with the message the Baruch Choir is transforming here in Serbia, because it's a very good example how you can tell the story of those people, that of the Jewish community here in Belgrade before the war, in modern life, and to cherish it in a very innovative way. The city of Belgrade is full of monuments, of points of interest that tells the story of a very vibrant, rich Jewish community that existed here before the Second World War. And I would like very much that general public will know and understand better what was present here before the Holocaust. I don't know if you had the opportunity to visit the Jewish cemetery in Belgrade, but this is an amazing place, because while walking in the trails in the cemetery, you can understand better how our destiny, the destiny of the Jewish people and Serbian people, is so much interlinked into each other. There are some monuments there, and the tombs of important people that contributed to the Serbian nation. If it's the Buli family, that one of the brothers was helping the Yugoslav army to win or to succeed in the war, in First World War, and that became later the first Jewish member of the parliament. And his brother founded the football association in Serbia, or stories of other people that we should all know and cherish and understand better their contribution to the culture life here today.
Now, while we're on the topic of history, after the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, the post-war Yugoslavia was among the first countries to recognize Israel. What role has this played in shaping the historical friendship between the two countries?
I'm very proud that the Yugoslavia, at the time of when the State of Israel was fighting for its independence in 1948, played a major role and expressed its friendship while allowing the transfer of arms and airplanes to the newly established state, Jewish state, that was fighting for its existence. This friendship came into reality after October 7, when Israel was fighting this horrible massacre, and this friendship of Serbia was expressed again in so many ways. And this is something that we, the people of Israel, will never forget.
In your recent tweets, you thanked Serbia for giving the basketball team Maccabi Tel Aviv, a team well known among Serbian sports fans, their second home. 2 years after this decision was made, how do you see this move contributing to the cultural and sport diplomacy between Serbia and Israel?
We were so grateful for the President of Serbia, the government, the municipality of Belgrade, the people of Serbia for opening your home, your Pioneer Hall, to the Israeli teams to play their home games here in Serbia, because unfortunately, because of the war, it was not possible to do it in Israel. And this brought a big wave of Israeli fans visiting Serbia and expressing their gratitude to the Serbian warm hospitality. I think in general that I'm a true believer in people-to-people exchanges and connections, and I'm sure that with this I'm sure that with this gesture, there are many new Serbian ambassadors in Israel, because every sports fan that comes back from Belgrade tells the very good stories about his experience visiting in Serbia and in Belgrade. And I'm sure that this will lead definitely to enhancing the tourism connections between our two countries.
That's great. And could you tell us, how do you see the future of women in diplomacy? There is a certain gap between genders, but do you see it further decreasing, and do you see it being sustainable in the future?
Well, the issue of women empowerment is an issue that is very close to my heart. And I'm a true believer in women empowerment and in diversity. I think that the moment we will have more different voices around the table, this will lead to better decisions and better outcomes. Therefore, I really call for integrating women in all segments of decision-making processes, being a part of foreign policy making. Definitely, we should have more women around the table. Unfortunately, in my country, out of 97 ambassadors around the world, there's only 27 women ambassadors. I hope that within a decade, we will have equal number of women ambassadors, and hopefully that one day we will have also the whole management of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the hands of women diplomats.
Israel is often referred as the startup nation. How can Serbia leverage this Israeli expertise in innovation to encourage its own ecosystem of startups?
We are very much a society that is driven with creating new things out of necessity. Okay, so part of our high-tech and innovation ecosystem is based on young people that finished the military service and went to the economic life and implemented things that they learned during their military service into real life and came out with new inventions and ideas. Part of our secret of success is not to be afraid to fail. And from behind many of the successful startup companies in Israel, there are many failures that those heads of companies learned and improved themselves from one time to the other. So if you would like to succeed, don't be afraid to fail. And of course, integrate women in the decision making you are making. But definitely, we are very much eager to contribute more to the development of the innovation ecosystem here. Two delegations we are planning in the near future to visit Israel, one on AI and cyber, the other one is on smart cities. And I'm very proud that Israeli companies are also contributing in implementing Serbia's green agenda and introducing new alternative sources of energy to Serbia.
With Serbia's exports to Israel growing at an annualized rate of 19.3% over the past 5 years, and Israel exports to Serbia increasing by 18.6% annually, what factors do you believe are driving this growth, and how can this growth be sustained?
Well, first of all, I'm very proud that last year we witnessed an increase of 64% in our bilateral trade, reaching the height of $200 million. And definitely, I hope very much that this tendency is only going to increase in the coming years. During the visit of our President Herzog that visited here a few months ago, our two presidents announced about the intention to double our trade volume within 3 years. During that visit, we also signed a joint declaration on technological innovation cooperation, and this is again a tool that where we will have our innovation ecosystems working closely together. And there are many elements in our both economies that can complement each other. We are now importing agricultural products from Serbia to Israel that will diversify our import from other countries, and you can find the Serbian products on Israeli shelves in the Israeli supermarkets. There's a lot of Israeli infrastructure companies investing here in Serbia. If it's AFI, if it's Shikuno Binui, or you all probably well aware of the big shopping malls. Big is an Israeli company. So I'm very proud with the presence of Israeli investment here, and looking forward for new venues where we can have more in common to cooperate, because this is the secret for our mutual success.
With the recent passing of the Serbian Jewish writer Filip David, he left a profound legacy in literature and culture, standing toe-to-toe with writers like Oskar Davičo and Danilo Kiš. As someone who is famous for writing about historical truths and human rights, how can his literary and societal contributions serve as a model for addressing complex issues in today's diplomacy?
Well, as I said before, I'm a true believer in people-to-people connections, and I think through literature, through art, through cinema, this is the best way to learn about each other's different cultures and backgrounds. As a descendant of Serbian origin, I'm very proud that so much Serbian literature was translated into Hebrew. I could read in my own mother tongue Sampler Eden, the Bridge on the Drina, Eric Koch books, Philip David books, and many other prominent writers. Last week, I met an amazing lady. Her name is Reli Alfandari Pardo. She is a survivor, a Holocaust survivor, Israeli, only 97 years old, living currently in Israel. And her biography that was written in Hebrew and translated to Serbian language, I couldn't stop reading this book. And I learned so much about our history, common history, from reading that book. So we are very much enthusiastic about promoting and introducing Israeli culture to the Serbian audience. I was very proud that the Israeli dance company Vertigo was opening the International Dance Festival. And I'm very much looking for Serbian artists and to come and present their art in Israel in order for our two people to know and understand each other much better. So for that, definitely we have a lot to do and in promoting mutually our cultures.
The situation in Palestine continues to be a topic of global concern. From your perspective, what steps do you believe are necessary to cultivate dialogue and work towards a peaceful resolution that benefits all parties involved?
Well, the war People tend to forget how it all started, and the war in Gaza started more than a year and a half ago with a sudden attack by Hamas on innocent civilian communities inside Israel. Saturday morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, where people were dragged from their homes in their pajamas and were taken hostage to Gaza. And it's very important for people to know that since then, 250 people were kidnapped. Out of them, 59 are still held kidnapped hostages in Gaza, in the undergrounds, in tunnels with no minimal humanitarian needs they deserve to have. And the war that started because of that sudden attack is still going on, and our government is determined to bring back the people of Israel the security, and to make sure that this thing will not happen again. And for making sure that this will not happen again, one, where there's a need to make sure that the future of Gaza will not be in the hand of those terrorists, Hamas, and that Hamas will dismantle its security and its economic capabilities in Gaza. And without dismantling Hamas, there won't be any future for Israel, security, but also for the people of Gaza. Those miserable people that were caught in this fire deserve better future than being taken as hostage. They are also taken hostage by the Hamas fanatics, and they cannot have a proper normal life over there. So I hope very much that this will reach an end where the people of Israel and the Palestinian people in Gaza will have a better, promising future.
Now, we had recently received updates about the state of the Israeli-Serbian citizen Alon Ochel, who was taken hostage by Hamas terrorists on October 7th, 2023. How do you view the importance of keeping his story alive in the public sphere, which you have actively been doing yourself as well ever since you came to Serbia?
Well, I think anybody that hears the story of Alon Ochel, a young man, a pianist, age of 23rd, at the age of one of my daughters, who was dancing in a dance festival and was brutally kidnapped on that day by Hamas terrorists, is a story that you cannot keep silent after listening to this personal story and meeting the family of Alon, that are descendants of, or their origins come from Serbia. The mother of Alon accompanied our president while he was visiting here in Israel, and we are very much grateful for the Serbian government in doing whatever it can in calling, in approaching the international community and demanding for his return because of the dual citizenship, also because of the very dire situation he's in. In the last round of release of hostages, some of the hostages that came back were held in prison with him. And the stories we heard about his health condition are very worrying. He lost his eyesight in one of his eyes. And there's a big danger that he will lose his eyesight in both eyes. And he's a very dire humanitarian situation. And of course, this is the reason we need to bring him back, but all the other hostages, because there's no time, and time is in the essence after a year and a half being held in such very bad conditions. We are very much worried for the lives of him and all the others that are still kept alive.
Thank you. Dear viewers, thank you for your attention. You watched another episode of The Diplomat. Today with us was Her Excellency Avivit Bar-Ilan. My name is Mijat Kontić, and I'll see you in the next episode of The Diplomat.
Povodom 9. rođendana magazina Diplomacy and Commerce u Jugoslovenskoj kinoteci okupili su se mnogobrojni prijatelji redakcije i gosti koji godinama prate najvažnija dešavanja iz diplomatskih krugova. Tradicionalno organizovana je svečana dodela Diplomacy and Commerce nagrada za 2025. godinu pojedincima, kompanijama i ustanovama za izvanredan doprinos društvenom, kulturnom, medijskom, ekonomskom i humanitarnom razvoju Srbije.
Naša ideja je da kroz DC Awards objedinimo ceo region na svih 5 platformi. Vidjet ćete tokom ceremonije, obuhvatamo vladu, medije, zaposlene u nevladinom sektoru, ljude iz različitih društvenih slojeva, ambasadore, ustanove kulture.
Posebno me raduje što sve češće u salama poput ove vidim žene koje menjaju pravila igre, ne samo kao dobitnice, već kao liderke koje inspirišu i povlače druge za sobom.
To nije naravno samo priznanje za moj rad, već i poziv na odgovornost koju svi mi u medijima treba da imamo. Pogotovo u današnje vreme gde informacije se lako dele, istina je često slojevita, tako da mi svi novinari treba da tragamo za tom istinom, treba ostati profesionalan, dosledan, biti hrabar, imati svoj stav, direktno pitati. I naravno ova nagrada nije samo nekako moja, nego je naravno i svih mojih kolega sa Euronewsa.
Specijalne nagrade dodeljene su za unapređenje digitalne pismenosti i obrazovanja, za izvrsnost u ugostiteljstvu, luksuzni konsjerž, networking, korporativnu bezbednost, najuspešniju regionalnu greenfield investiciju, žene lidere u oblasti komunikacija za izuzetno životno dostignuće.
Čovek zaista izuzetne snage i energije, neumoran, čarobnjak biznisa, proizvođač crvenog zlata, kako kažu u Vojvodini, gospodin Hristivoje Milošević.
Fabrika Aleva je već 78 godina u funkciji. Starali smo se da se osavremeni proizvodnja, da se oškoluju kadrovi i da možemo da pomognemo i poljoprivrednicima i sami sebi.
Pored specijalnih nagrada izabrani su laureati za najbolju društveno odgovornu kampanju, za podršku institucijama kulture i umetnicima, humanitarnu delatnost, za projekte iz oblasti zelene ekonomije i održivog razvoja, za biznis inovacije u kategoriji kompanija i proizvoda, za poboljšanje uslova poslovanja za mala i srednja preduzeća, unapređenje bilateralne saradnje, doprinos razvoju lokalne zajednice i civilnog društva, za najbolje odnose sa medijima, kao i za promociju društvenog aktivizma i društveno odgovornu kampanju na globalnom nivou. Bogata muzička baština švajcarskih Alpa stigla i do beogradske publike koja je u punom atrijumu Narodnog muzeja imala priliku da čuje tradicionalna i klasična dela Jozefa Joakima Rafa, Arkadija Šilkopera, Leopolda Mozarta i Feliksa Mendelsona Bartoldija. Fokus raznovrsnog repertoara bile su kompozicije pisane za alpski rog, švajcarski nacionalni muzički instrument i gudače.
Istorija alpskog roga govori da je to prvobitno bio instrument pastira koji je služio da se međusobno čuju na velikoj udaljenosti. Alpski rog emituje duboke zvuke, korišćen je na religijskim svečanostima i događajima. Zbog urbanizacije i industrializacije vekovima je bio zanemaren. Mogu ponosno reći da od 2022. u Švajcarskoj postoji jedna primenjena umetnička škola u kojoj se uči sviranje alpskog roga.
Solistkinja večeri na alpskom rogu bila je Ana Stanković, a uz nju je nastupio Jevrejski kamerni orkestar i hor braća Baruh pod dirigentskom upravom Stefana Zekića.
Moram priznati da prvi put u životu prisustvujem koncertu alpskog roga i očekujem da će biti sjajan. Vidim da svi imate spremne instrumente. Hvala umetnicima koji će večeras svirati. Hvala svima u publici što ste došli.
Ideja koncerta bilo je podsticanje umetničke razmene između Srbije i Švajcarske, evociranjem prizora i zvuka Alpa kroz bogatu orkestarsku paletu.
Do you feel this kind of change? I will start with you, Andrea. Do you feel this kind of change in global trends in media, in conversation with your colleagues? Please.
First of all,
Yeah, just speak. Yeah, they will.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to say good morning to everyone, and thank you, Robert, for your invitation to this panel. For me, it's the first time, and I am very honored and grateful to sitting here among these amazing and very beautiful ladies today. Thank you. And your question. I think it changed a little bit, but in my opinion, women's rights we should consider it on the same scale as human rights. So doesn't matter if it's about gender, if it's about ethnicity, if it's about sexual orientation. First, we are human beings, women. So I think extremism, it's never good both ways. So
thank you.
I think you are specifically speaking about backsliding in women's rights, given the new tendencies of neoconservatism. When it comes to Switzerland, to my country, I will come to Serbia later, I don't think we have those so far, but we have still progress to be made. And in those progresses, you might see less willingness to improve quickly. Let's talk about equality in salaries, for example, or child care, taking care capacities for children so that they can have both family and careers. Those might be less progressing than expected because of the
in last couple of years, or what?
In the discourse, not in the action yet, but it might come. Let's put it this way. Nevertheless, I would like to emphasize the progress that my country has done, given the fact that we had the women's right to vote only in 1971, and we have more than 40% of parliamentarians.
Can you explain us, because we always think about Switzerland as a #1 country in everyone. Why is that so?
So we are back #1, but it took us a few decades. But well, because it was put on popular vote. You know, the population.
As everything.
It was only men voting, of course.
Yes, of course.
It was only men who
on
had
referendum,
to
on
give
referendum.
the vote to women, and it was. I think it was refused once or twice, and it was put again by the government to the popular vote, and men eventually said yes, but we needed a lot of efforts from women to make this breakthrough in 71. And it came with various laws and enabling women to enjoy the same rights.
So this is what's happened if you always ask people, not the decision makers, but people to decide.
Direct democracy has its beauties. You know, we don't have so much political turmoil because people can express themselves very regularly on all sorts of issues. They feel empowered and participative, but you get also sometimes results that the government doesn't like.
Yeah. Thank you. Milena.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for inviting me second year in a row. And yes, for me, women's rights are a fundamental part of international human rights framework. And they are not optional, they are not negotiable, they are not ideological. And indeed, we see in the recent year, globally, regionally, but as well nationally, that somehow women's rights are being reframed into the part of as ideological battle and issue. And under the pretense of fighting woke culture or defending traditional values, we are actually seeing quite erosion of women's rights. And this erosion is not rhetorical. It really has the implications to the women and girls on the ground in less services to women, less financing to women's organization, less legal protection, increased economy of care burden. So fighting for women's rights as the part of the human rights which are inherent and which are not negotiable is something which we all stand for. And it is worrisome that under the pretense of defending traditional values, we are actually deteriorating already hardly won women's rights, which generations of women fought.
When we are speaking about less financing of those kind of programs or NGOs, this started when with this new Trump mandate with USAID and everything else, or even before this?
That started even before that, from shifting the focus from women's rights and services to women to all kind of services with the traditional values, which are sometimes harmful for women. And of course, no one is against some positive traditional values. But then Trump had a nail in a coffin, so to say, because it gives the legitimacy to the conservative governments across the world that that's something okay to do, which is not.
Finally, the big boss thinks the same. Yeah, Plamena.
Good morning. Thank you once again for having me for the second year in a row. I must say that I feel that although I'm very privileged to be in such a high-profile panel, there is also a setback when it comes to male participation in the panel.
Yeah, you have me.
Yes, yes, of course. But as a moderator, it would be good to also have some men among us to discuss these issues. I wanted to pick on the term that you're using in your question, and also that Milana used. It's about woke and anti-woke movement, because I think this word has done way more damage than good for the cause. As you may know, it actually started being used already in the 40s last century, and it was mainly used to describe social injustice experienced by African Americans. And then more started to be used for various forms of social movements, including gender empowerment, LGBTI issues, etc. It started being using left, right, and center, and then it became progressively toxic. It became toxic also because it describes somebody who is awake, a bit like in the Matrix when you unplug Neo from the Matrix and then he's awake. But then this implies that everybody else is sleeping. So there is this notion of moral superiority. We are better because we're awake. And I think this is very damaging for all the causes that have been described as part of the woke culture, including gender equality, because as Anne very rightly pointed out, we need the man. It's not something which can be achieved against men's rights. We need everybody on board for issues like gender equality. And I also want to agree with Milana. I think that we have really witnessed erosion of women's rights, and this has such a widespread geographical coverage from countries like Afghanistan to US, what we have witnessing with abortion rights. Actually, UN Women in their global report, which was issued just in the eve of 8th of March, described serious setbacks, including, I think, like a quarter of countries worldwide have reported setbacks when it comes to women's rights. We know that every 10 minutes a woman and a girl is killed worldwide. We also know that labor participation is really seriously lagging behind. Just to mention very quickly that on 8th of March, the European Union, also the European Commission, proposed its roadmap for advancing women's rights, covering a number of issues. There was also a report on basically assessing the work we have done so far, and while I think we may have made important progress when it comes to adopting legislation, for example, the first directive on combating violence against women, we are witnessing serious delays when it comes to implementation. So it's all about implementation. And to finish on a positive note, according to the latest Gender Equality Index, out of 100 points, the European Union is 71 points, which is not bad. It's still
EU in total.
EU in total. Yeah. But what is even more important, at least to me, is that this report shows that the disparity between what we call new member states and the old ones has really reduced.
Really?
Yes, it has considerably reduced compared to 2010. And this gives me hope that we're on the right track. And I think also signals the importance of having positive role models and those who can inspire us and who have achieved and have gone further when it comes to gender equality, bearing in mind that no country is there yet.